Welcome to this week's edition of the Casual Shooters Podcast. This week you have me and you have Leo.
Hello.
I was wondering if you're going to say hello. A little delayed reaction. It is a Monday. This week we have two guests. We have the match director and the assistant match director for the Area 8 Championship coming up. We have Keanu Sy and Stephen Van. Let's go ahead and bring them in. Hello, Keanu. Hello, Stephen.
How's it going?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Leo. Thank you for having us.
All right. Why don't you guys take a moment and introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into the interrogation.
Oof, sounds fun. I'm Keanu. I'm the match director for the Area 8 Championship. This is my second year doing it. And I think I've taken a different step into how I think Area Championships and major matches should be run. So I'm pretty excited. I ran it similar to last year, or I will be running it similar to last year. And I'm pretty excited to see how it's going to unravel this year. But I'm really looking forward to this year's match. And I have so cordially picked Stephen as my assistant match director, which either best decision or worst decision. I haven't decided yet.
He looks thrilled.
Well, he just dragged
does.
me into it really because we kind of enjoy the same things about the game and really envision the way stages are run similarly-ish. Like we kind of have the same goals in mind when we set up a stage and when we try to run through them. So I guess that's kind of why I was brought on is, to take half the hate and, pat each other on the back about how much we love our stages.
Mm-hmm. We speak in a vacuum, so there's no external influence.
That's fair.
There you go. Two peas in a pod.
It's really cute.
Precious, some say.
All right, so we start every podcast with 5 very personal questions of our guests. So we're gonna ask the first 5 questions, and we'll let Keanu answer first, and Stephen will go alphabetically, and then after that, they're going to be random questions, and it doesn't matter who answers first. So we're going to start with favorite movie.
Oof.
Mine's Joe Dirt. I'll go out and say it. Joe Dirt, baby. I can
All
watch
Way
right.
to
it
cut me
any
off,
day.
Stephen.
You're welcome.
Oh, what movie do I
I
watch?
wouldn't have to cut out the dead air, bro.
Or save me in post.
It's Joe Dirte.
Yeah, that's right. Don't try to throw shit up on me.
That's right.
I'm going to say Tropic Thunder.
2 strong choices.
Fantastic movie.
Classics.
That's
Yeah.
horribly insulting.
They will
I
go
love
down in the annals of cinema history as movies that should have gotten more recognition.
Movies that will be banned now.
Yes.
Favorite book.
That's
Stephen
a
just had the
bold
same reaction
implication
as
that I
the
know
Air
how to
Force and
read.
Navy training.
Okay, there.
We're both practically illiterate.
I've literally said at work that I can only read pictures, and then pretty sure they wanted to smack me for it.
Honestly, if you can't keep it to 144 characters or less, I don't know that I could actually, keep my attention focused on it. I haven't read a book other than a rule book or a school book in years, and I didn't like any of them.
Yeah, I think the USPSA rulebook's the most recent book I read.
A book is a
crap.
book.
I don't know. I got a
Anderson's
Bible
book
behind me.
count? Can we count Anderson's books?
Yeah.
Does that count? Okay, there you go. I read those.
It's a book.
Yeah.
Wait,
Anderson's third book.
Audible or like you actually?
No, I
look
actually
at-
read the words
Okay.
and the terrible editing.
Okay.
I'm going to go with The Hungry, Hungry Caterpillar.
Hmm.
Really
My kid
good book.
loves that book. He's
It's one of my favorites. It really embodies who I am as a person. Before he turns into a butterfly.
Right. Obviously. I think we all got there on our own.
Okay. This is a Huggies question here for everybody. Favorite superhero?
Don't all jump up at once to answer that one.
I mean,
I'm
does Iron
working
Man
on
count as a superhero?
Does Iron Man count?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, come
Oh,
on.
Iron Man, obviously. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Iron Man too. He's awesome. He's rich.
I mean, yeah.
And he's
That's
smart.
sure.
Yeah.
2 things I'm not.
Favorite gun and caliber. They don't have to be the same. Like you don't have to say a 1911 and 45.
Well,
Wow,
9 is easily
Steven
the
is a
best
boomer.
caliber. I do have 4 1911s. I mean, I guess my favorite gun though. My favorite gun that I own, I'll preface it with that, is my M92 SBR. It's a little 10-inch AK.
Okay.
I think my favorite gun that I own, probably I have an old Lee Enfield number 5 jungle carbine.
Oh,
I love
wow.
that thing.
Gross.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome, Steven. It's super loud and it weighs
What?
7 pounds.
If
And it,
you
What a great
continue asking him about his gun choices, and you'll also be disgusted.
I mean, if you say Beretta, like any military version of the Beretta, Dave might kick you off the show.
oh, I mean, okay, so my favorite handgun is my Beretta 92, my Langdon. That is my favorite handgun that I have.
Well,
I
that
think.
concludes this episode of the Casual Shooter Podcast. It was really great having you guys on.
And I know Ernest.
Fun fact about Ernest Langdon. I met him for the first time at Peacemaker, and we were just talking about Danchek before we came on the show, and Danchek had dragged me out there, and I was screaming at Ernest Langdon about how beautiful he was and how he needed to shoot all of his stages with his shirt off. He may remember that if you bring it up. I had no idea who the guy was. It was great.
Shirtless Ernest Langdon.
There you go. That's definitely a question to ask him.
When I order my slide from him, I'll definitely put in a message saying I would like a picture of you shirtless with my slide.
Might take-
I would be very careful about how you write that message.
Nope. Just,
I said what I said.
uh-huh.
All right. So now here might be a little sneak peek into the match coming up. What's your favorite stage for the upcoming Area 8 match?
Oh, this is not fair. I did not prepare for that.
Oh, caught you off guard. And for
I'm
the
going into
world
my
out
email
there,
now to
this
look at the
has not been
stages.
released.
All right, you're gonna
I
have to
think it was
you're gonna have to cut out all this
14.
dead air unless we can manage to fill it with enough of our verbal garbage.
Is 14 the one where we cut the 5 popper array and split it up?
Yeah, 14 is coming up really nice. Yeah,
14's my favorite.
14's your favorite.
So we have steel and we have paper. Okay.
Everybody loves steel.
Just not plates, man.
That's a lie.
Poppers, plate racks, stars, fine. Just not those stupid little squares and little things that Tilly leaves all over his range.
Oh, they're like this big, and yeah,
I mean, they were bigger than that, but I mean, they looked really small from where I was.
right.
I'm gonna go with stage 2, and that was one of the stages that we made some changes to before.
Now,
last week.
last year, if I remember correctly, stage 2, wasn't that the low port?
That was stage 1.
That was stage 1. Either way, that one sucked. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome for that. We'll have you know that there are no low ports this year. We
Thank
removed
you.
the low port.
Yeah, initially there were 2, and sadly,
Yes.
they had to be removed.
All right. 2-0. I like that.
We don't.
I'm not a fan of low ports. Getting down and getting back up is not quick.
Well, I feel bad for I think it was like Phil Strader and Todd Jarrett last year. They were on stage 1 when we got a huge rainstorm coming in for about half an hour, and then the range master and I were walking around yelling at people to start shooting because we just wanted to get it over with and go to the hotel. And this is only 3:00 or whatever, so we really shouldn't have been in a rush, but we were just being jerks. And Phil's like, okay, and then he shoots a stage, and then next thing you know, he's practically swimming in the bay, just in the shooting area made a nice little pond, and he was just buried in it. It was fantastic to watch, and it happened to Todd Jarrett and his wife too.
Yeah, and Phil's not a short guy of stature by any means.
Yeah, we had some upset comments in the
Survey?
after action survey about that,
Yeah.
about how we made people shoot in the rain.
Hey, we've done it. We did it at Nationals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we got-
I don't blame them for complaining because I hate rain. So
yeah. All right. So, Keanu, you also host a match in Maryland. I don't remember though. Where's that located?
Thurmont. So it's at the
Maryland.
Thurmont Conservation and Sportsman's Club.
Okay. And is that any certain weekend, or is that just every Sunday?
It's on the 4th weekend of every month. I think outside of normal off-season time, and we do Saturday, Sunday. Saturday is limited availability because we don't want to step on Eastern Shore's toes. And that's like a setup day, so it's kind of a train wreck if you show up. Steven's gone on Saturday before. It's terrible.
It's a nightmare.
Like, I'm running around still hammering in targets and everything like that while they're showing up, and then I have to get all the tablets things. So Saturday kind of sucks, but it's still a good time. And we don't start until noon on Saturday, but I usually have everyone out by 3:00. And then Sunday we start at 10, and then we're usually done by 2:30.
Okay.
So
I feel like it would be chock full of partials and no shoots.
Mm-hmm. How'd you know?
Okay. Oh, I just know.
Well, so I just got a 40-yard. We had a bay rent. We had a couple bays get renovated, so now one of the bays got extended to 35 yards. The other one's 40 yards. So I can make some very nice stages now. But I pride myself to say that most people don't usually make it out of the match clean unless they actually take their time. It's super, super punishing to try and pick up speed on some of the arrays that I put in. And like, I don't do arrays that are like four targets next to each other either. Like, I usually do end up like the way Stephen and I did a lot of the Area 8 stages. We ended up putting arrays that require like actual transitions and actual like, leading with the eyes and everything, to try and force people to not hose and slow down a little bit. And then, you're going to punish those people who are driving the gun really hard. And trying to get those early shots off, and they're going to put shots into the deltas and stuff like that, or they're trying to split too fast on the far targets. So like, there's a lot of changing gears, I think, on a lot of our arrays that we're putting up, either at Thermont or Area 8. So I think there's a lot of like, each position is dynamic on its own.
Okay. So better have some visual patience.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you become the match director for Area 8 Championship last year?
I was ROing Delmarva, and then the section coordinator walked up to me with the area director, or soon-to-be area director, and said, "Hey, do you want to run Area 8 next year?" I said, "Let me think about it." And then I got back to him like an hour later or later that day, and I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." Like, like they literally just asked, because fun fact, no one wants to run area matches. No one likes doing it because it's like, unlike a club match, it becomes a USPSA political position almost, and you work really closely with the area director. You hear a lot of crap that goes on that you wouldn't hear otherwise, unless you're really tied in with a sport and people who are like really, really deep into sport, organization wise.
Wow.
But yeah, like it's surprising like how most people don't want to step up to do it, unless you like astronomically mess up the match the year before, and then someone might be willing to take over.
It's just like anything else. No one's ever going to be, you're not going to please everybody with anything you do, So you try to do something for yourself, and then you have such an outcore that you have to change what you initially wanted to do just to make a couple people less unsatisfied.
Yeah.
It's thankless, but I mean, most of the volunteering spots are like all these guys that come out here in RM, and all these retired folks that come out and do all of the ROing for us. I mean, that's such an extremely thankless job, and nobody would want to do it. And that's why I guess you don't see a whole lot of younger people doing it anyway, because
Yep. Everyone wants to be the next Christian or whoever else is really, really good, or the next Gianni or whoever, right? So everyone wants to be that, but the reality is most people can't be that. They either don't have the time, they either don't have the resources, or just their rote skill.
Right.
But I think the issue, there's a deep-seated issue now with USPSA where a lot of the younger people who are like my age, or even Steven's age, aren't wanting to.
Old.
I went there.
He's so youthful, so vibrant.
A lot of people aren't willing to put in the time to help the sport, and that's just the crappy nature of the volunteer sport.
Right.
That can easily be very competitive.
So with running Area 8, is there any conversation on how to correct that to get more people involved at that level?
No, so like,
sorry.
I've had conversations with people about that stuff, and I think a lot of people are saying that level 3s, like so area matches and nationals, should really be run by a professional staff that travel, and that's their job. or at least like part time. Like they take like a week off work, but there's like a mutual agreement that they're all traveling on these times, at these scheduled times to go work these matches to prevent this kind of issue. But I think that there would be a lot of pushback over that because I think that would just drive the cost of the match up even more. And USPSA isn't. I'm going to get like an angry email from Foley or something. But
nobody listens to this show. It's fine.
USPSA is like they do some stuff for the area matches, but in terms of like actual logistical support, there's not a whole lot to go around there, and I think that's just because of liability that they don't want to assume. But I don't think they're usually not the most like it's kind of frustrating sometimes because you hear a lot of people, like a lot of shooters, complaining about how USPSA should be doing a lot more for these kind of matches, but then nothing comes of it, and that's just the unfortunate truth. But
we spoke with Dave Ankeny recently, and I was surprised to hear that there's no like database of stage design where, all these people are making all of these stages, creating stages every weekend for matches. I'm surprised there isn't somewhere on the website for match directors to be able to go and pull designs that have already been created by, 200 other people.
Isn't there now? Didn't they just come out with that like last week or 2 weeks ago or something along those lines?
Well, I don't know. That's why I was asking him if there was anything like that. It only makes sense,
I don't know. I think that should exist. Like that's like Trident stage design, as terrible as the software is, they have like a whole repository of stages that get saved to it. But it's all like 2-dimensional crap, so I don't know really how far you can get with it. And a lot of it's IDPA or multi-gun stages, so and with like relatively simple procedures. So I don't think it's as complex as USPSA.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I think Troy is like the way we're submitting Form Cs now for stage approval. It all goes in like one stage at a time for approval, and I think that's because they might be building a repository. I get the sneaking suspicion that's why.
So they don't want to get inundated with all that stuff and not be able to file it, I guess.
I don't know. I miss the old way where the RMs would just email Troy, say, "Hey, here are the stages. Please approve them."
I'm sure it was quicker.
Mm-hmm.
So is Jim McBurnett the range master again this year?
Yeah. So we have Mark Evans and Jim McBurnett again. So same crew.
Okay. Now was Mark the one being mentored or whatever they want to call it last year?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that was I think that was the second match that he's RM'd. Area 8 was, I think.
Okay.
But Jim was like the RM number 1.
So you mentioned it earlier. I was going to bring it up. You sent out the survey last year.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was pretty good. What were some of the things that folks liked, and what were some things that they necessarily didn't like?
Well, contrary to this year's belief, a lot of people liked the shorter format that we ran last year. A lot of people seem to like the 3-2-1, the more IPSC style format, where it was a much lower round count. And I think a lot of people liked the fact that they weren't here until 6 o'clock, or I guess at the range until 6 o'clock. And I know the staff liked it too. They really enjoyed getting out by 3:30 to 4 o'clock, and then we had the range closed by 5. And so then everyone was out. Everyone could have fun for 5 or 6 more hours before they have to go to bed. Bobby, Southern Barbecue, got compliments as usual. His food's fantastic.
Okay. Is he coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he'll be back. Same deal as last year.
Okay.
And breakfast too, I think. His breakfast burritos are really, really good.
I can vouch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Personal experience?
Mm-hmm.
Stephen and I both spend a lot of time eating.
That's basically all we do.
It's a sport.
All right. Match director job. Eat burritos.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm in. That's all it took. I'll do it.
It's
I'll
like
do it
I would
from now
roll
on.
up in the morning and Bobby would just be like, I got 2 burritos here for you. I'm like, sweet. Don't even need to
Special
order
ever.
them. I skip all the peasants.
So people didn't like shooting in the rain. Was there anything else that was like?
So a lot of people, myself included, were really pissed that stage 12 got thrown out. But there was a lot of issues with the activation sequence that went wrong. So it worked like 70% of the time on Thursday on staff day, but then Friday, like by the time we had like our first squad on Friday, there was a huge line for it for reshoots and everything. So after a discussion with the RMs, we just decided to can it. The issue was there's a stage next to it, to the left of it, that was like 10 or 12 rounds, and since like the way we had the stage flow planned was we had a stage flowing into that one, and then that would flow into the field course. But then because of the field course, there was a huge backup on that stage alone, and so I think at one point we had like 2 squads backed up onto one bay, something like that. And the RO crew on the stage that was or on the bay that was 2 stages and then became 1. They tried their best to try and like curb the flow a little bit, and there's within the USPSA rules, the 5-minute walkthrough and the shoot throughs and everything. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it's tough because
Right.
you're running from like what, a 20 rounder to a 10, and then there was supposed to be like another 18 before you went to like a high count, like a 25 or 28 round course.
Yeah, so it went from like a 24 into a 12 and a 16 or 18, and then into a 32.
And it wasn't just the 32. That was a long course. That was a lot of movement too.
Yeah, it was like a pure uprange movement stage.
Yeah,
That stage actually got a good bit of got a good bit of flack over
Really?
we had a lot of DQs on that stage.
Really? That's
Yeah.
surprising.
So
to me,
stage 13, like it was. There were a few of those few posts on Enos talking about that. I think, if I remember correctly, and I think maybe a couple on Duty Project, and a few podcasts definitely talked about it, if I remember off the top of my head. But so there's a stage where you end like your last shot's basically going to be about probably like 160-ish, 170-ish, but
right.
the issue was on unload and show clear, people would just stay at that angle instead of facing down range. So people would just get DQ'd after their last shot was fired.
That's a rough spot right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way we set up the stage, that was kind of an oversight, but we did make sure that everything was outside or was within the 180. So it goes both ways, right? Like we have a responsibility and the shooters have a responsibility. So
right.
Okay.
Okay, I'll accept the blame. I'm that generous of a deity.
And we were,
I would have thrown that one on Steven. I'd been like,
it was my stage.
That was Steven's stage. Like we were sitting down designing
that was
it.
the perfect opportunity to be like, I was 100%. That was Steven's fault.
He didn't work the match though. He didn't set it up. So
yeah,
we were actually in the backup when we were the 3rd squad waiting when you and Jim came down and threw the stage out.
Were you really?
Yep. We were sitting there waiting.
I remember seeing like three squads sitting there, and I was like, "Oh no, here we go."
I would like to point out, I was like, "Cool, one less stage for me to screw up." I like it.
I like seeing that at majors too, because apparently I hate shooting. So I go up to a match, I'm like, "Oh." Like Steve and I were talking about it yesterday. And we're like, Area 8's 13 stages. I don't want to. I was like, what if we just shoot through a few stages every day? That way we don't have to shoot 13 stages in a single day. That sounds terrible.
It does.
But people like the one stage. People like the 1 day formats, even though it's 13 stages. But it's a shorter format too.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as we keep it moving quickly, like we did before, and you're in and out in like 6 hours or less, it's not bad. But we were on the range for like 10 hours Saturday.
Yeah, we got there at like what?
9,
and then we were there until we were there for about 9 hours to shoot 12 stages. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of we're talking about a local match that we just shot down in North Carolina.
Oh, that one. Okay.
But there was a lot of buffoonery going on too. So I think we were just running slow because we were all like, it was just a squad full of idiots, us included, especially us.
Oh goodness. Now, what was the actual device that wasn't working?
It was a swinger, so we had cross-activated swingers. We had an issue where the like when the stage was getting set up, it was so. This is my fault because I didn't walk the stage like completely before we got the before I called the range good and everything for the next day to shoot. But the swinger was catching on the hardcover mounts that were blocking it from being shot while stationary. So the actual activation sticks were getting caught, so it would only come partially out. So the swingers were like completely dysfunctional. At least one of them was. The other one worked okay, but the right side swinger on stage 12 was completely bust.
Okay. How is the progress with the matchbook and stages coming?
So stages are out to Troy. There was a whole kerfuffle with the stages from last week over like I think there was some hate about the round count because we kept it pretty similar to last year, where it was like I think last year before the stage got thrown, it was 247. This year we were at 238 before chrono, and then we bumped it back up to what 258. Stephen,
Yeah,
right?
That's right. That's correct.
So 258 plus chrono, and then people got upset that I included the round count in chrono, or the chrono in round count. But like it's you bring a minimum of 8 rounds, so I included it because that made sense.
Okay.
And then, but I think matchbook is coming along. I just have to flesh it out, and it's a lot of the time for the matchbook is getting all the stages in and just trying to figure out which sponsor is going to go where and stuff like that, and getting all that format figured out. And it gets proofed by the RMs, but by the RMs and the AD, and then I get it back, and then I make the changes whichever they require, and then I send it back, and then after that I post the matchbook. So it doesn't take long. It takes about a week, but we got some last minute sponsors, so I haven't really finished the matchbook yet because I want to include them. And same goes for like the match T-shirt and stuff like that. But stage wise, we're good to go. So Steven and I are happy with the changes that we made.
How did people find out what the round count was?
Well, so I posted the stages, the original rendition of the stages I posted on the Facebook group in the Area 8 Championship page. And so like I posted every single stage and the total round count, like the spread and everything. Because I wanted people to try and I was hoping people would get excited about the stages.
Wrong.
I failed.
Wrong.
I think there's a good group of people who like them, and there's a good group of people who don't like them. But I can't.
So when you say don't like, are you just getting like hate mail? It's like you're stupid, and I would like, why do you do this? Or like, what don't people like about stages?
Well, so one of the reasons why I picked Steven was because we more or less share the same vision for stage design and stuff like that. So I think both of us are the opinion that we kind of want to move more towards like the IPSC style, the IPSC format where it's a 3-2-1, so 3 short courses, 2 medium, 1 long. Right, and that's something that him and I both like firmly believe in terms of how a match should flow and like how shooter skills should be tested and whatnot. So I think it brings a lot of difference. It brings a lot of change to a match versus, like all 32 rounds or a lot of 24 rounds and up only, and then you have like 1 speed shoot for an area match, right? And we hate we don't do a lot of props because after learning from last year, props can cause issues if you're dumb like me and don't know how to set things up. But I think Steven and I I think it's just a fundamental philosophy difference in how stages are designed and executed on the ground and, in SketchUp and everything.
Neither one of us really likes putting targets up just for the sake of putting targets up, right? So we usually have an intention with an array. Like we want you to see you do X, execute this skill in this manner. Like that's why that is there. Not just for you to go run over there and spray 12 rounds and be like, yes, I came out here, I shot my 12 rounds and I can go home happy because my ammo can is empty. That's just not the way we've ever put anything together.
Yeah.
And because that's not what we would want to shoot,
Okay.
Right.
kind of enjoy suffering ourselves,
Mhm.
right? We usually set things up so that we suffer while we shoot them, so that hopefully maybe we might get better one day.
Okay.
Well, that's all.
Yeah. So like,
I like
I want the stages to be challenges. I don't want all the stages to just be gimmies. So and like what Steven was saying, it's like every array that we designed in each of our stages, like we wanted to test a particular skill, whether it's like a really a really fast entry with a really hard exit, where you might have an open target coming in really quick from 7 yards or 5 yards, and then you have to immediately transition to like a mini popper and then tuxedo at 15 yards or something like that. That poses a very different challenge from just coming in into a position and just doing 4 targets, up close, and then just leaving. Right. So, and not to say that, up close shooting and being very fast shooting fast is a skill on its own. But I think in terms of a lot of matches, that might be a little over tested of a skill. And I would like to see people, come into positions, take, like a 4-round position and see how they coast through it and see how they can minimize their time and, maximize their efficiency rolling through that stage. Or rolling through that single position, right? And since it's only like a lot of our arrays are only we don't require any more than six rounds, 6 or 7 rounds from a single position for our match for Area 8. So we're trying to push that hit factor down, and that will show. I'm of the opinion that having a lower possible high hit factor will give the shooters who are more skillful in those certain things, like mid-stage things, like those really fast transitions where you can change gears from a close target to a far target and call your shots and steal. We really want to award those kinds of skills, because those are the skills that a lot of people don't have quite honed in yet, and you'll definitely see those skills in people like Shane or JJ or or Nils, people like that, right? And like that's kind of what we're going for. So it's more technical.
Yeah, I was about to say it sounds a lot more technical than you would normally see.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely more IPSC style.
Yeah, and like neither of us are of the belief that more rounds ever under any circumstance equates to a better stage. Like you put targets where you need to, but if you're just gonna like put double stacks everywhere, that's just lazy. And I really hate the fact, like I really hate it when you walk up to a stage and you just see like 12 rounds from a single position. That just like there's an advantage to shooting high cap in that you're shooting high cap, and I think it's stupid that you're going to give them an even a higher advantage by letting them shoot half of the stage from a single position or 2 positions. That's kind of cheesy to me. And I'm a high cap
everybody
shooter.
Else stand and reload.
Yes,
Right.
and like I'm a high cap shooter. Dave, I know you're a high cap shooter. Steven's a high cap shooter. I don't know about Leo. But
I'm sad. I'm production, but I'm transitioning to oh my gosh, carry optics. Sorry, my brain shut off.
Gross.
But like 3 out of 4 of us, right? Like 3 out of 4 of us have shot a substantial amount of low cap. So like we know what it's like to walk up to a stage and feel like it's pointlessly, in my opinion, it's pointlessly inequitable on a stage.
I mean, there are specific places I will never go again because of the times I spent going there in single stack and walking up to a stage and seeing an unloaded start and then 21 available shots from a single spot. I'm just like, dude, you're going to make me stand here and stuff 5 mags and then stand there and reload twice for what? This is a waste of my time and money. Like, at least
that's not
make
even
everyone put a little effort into it.
I may as well just go to the range at that point and be like, all right.
Yeah, for an opener PCC guy, that may be an absolute blast. He gets to stand there and just mow down that stage. But for everyone else, that totally sucks.
Oh yeah.
No, but like even now shooting high cap, that's still cheesy.
Yeah.
Right. There's no
because you're not getting anything out of it other than just squeezing the trigger.
Right. You're not testing any other skill besides transitions and splits.
Fair. Exactly. I like it. Okay.
So do the names of the stages have a theme?
The area director actually named them, and they're all named after they're all Magnum PI themed, so it's like Hawaiian-ish.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. A lot of vowels, basically.
A lot of vowels with a consonant every 6 words or every 6 letters.
Okay.
And then our jerseys are also Magnum PI themed, so they're quite beautiful.
Now that actually might be pretty cool.
Yeah,
Dave's like, I want a jersey.
Let me see. I might have a picture. I can post it to you guys in the chat.
Well, I was going to say too, I don't recall seeing the stages in the Facebook page or on the Facebook page.
Which page are you in?
Area 8.
Area 8. So it's not on the Area 8 page. So it's in the if you type in EGW Area 8 Championship, it's on that page.
EGW Area 8. Yeah, there.
Where are these jerseys?
Yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but Dave is definitely a confident man and will wear pretty much anything that and he looks good in it too.
Or nothing.
Our second podcast ever, we had to remind Dave to put a shirt on.
I love that.
This is true. Thank God.
Yeah,
it
he was
just
like,
audio.
just sitting there all boop, 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 boop. But we're like, Dave, shirts are cool, man. He's like, oh no. I'm like, no. You should really, these things are just out
You know
there.
what's cooler though? Being butt naked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing saying that I'm wearing anything other, below, but I had the courtesy to put this on for you guys.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Nobody wants to see it. My wife didn't even want to see that. Yeah.
So it looks like there's a couple of bays that will be sharing stages.
Yeah, so I think we have two bays that are doubled up with short courses. So
Yeah,
same as
both
last
at
year.
both at the top of the hill there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm
like
trying
it.
to find these. I'm trying to find the jerseys.
I mean, just looking at the round count for each stage, just the listing, it actually looks pretty good. Huh. And
I think
people
that's
are-
something a lot of people didn't pay attention to is like the size of the bays and the type of facility that is at Shadowhawk. It's super nice, super clean. However, most of the bays are not huge.
Right.
They've got a couple pretty large ones, but
Right.
I mean, you would be pressed to shove 32 round stages into most of those bays.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of the way it's
Correct.
designed. I mean, it's probably my favorite facility in the area just because Lynn does such a great job keeping it clean and with the grounds there. But I mean, the bays are kind of small. That's the only drawback, really.
Yeah.
I posted the link to the jerseys. You're free to screen share it if you want to. I just have to disclose the fact that the sponsors on the jersey are not representative of our sponsors this year.
Oh, okay.
Now,
when you say where did you share them?
I shared it in the private chat.
Oh, private chat. Okay.
Wow, and Dave was making fun of Leo earlier for his technology skills.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even
That's
use
not a
chat box.
technology thing. That's a visual acuity thing.
Yeah, exactly.
His peripheral is narrower than it used to be. He can't help it. It happens. There it is.
There it is.
Okay, see, now if you say things like we got a really cool shirt, then people will be like, I'll be on staff. I want to look like Magnum.
Well, I just didn't want to post it yet because we didn't have all the sponsors wrangled up properly. But I really like the shirt. Steven, so we worked with Billy at Go Fast Don't Suck. Steven, Ted, and I did, and we're really happy with the product.
I would 100% wear that. Like my wife would be like, "You've got to stop wearing that to church."
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, like I wear like all the Hawaiian shirts come summertime, so
that's nice.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
That's actually pretty cool.
Thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates art here, other than
Heck
just me and
yeah.
Steven. Glad you two like it.
said
Well, I mean, it's not
Magnum
a
PI
Rembrandt, but yeah, it's good. Now so that's front and back, or like that's
no.
the same...
So the green one, that's a publicly available jersey for shooters. The blue one is for staff.
I don't even care. That's dope.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Hear that, Steven? I put Steven in charge of the jerseys.
I'm disappointed I don't see a
Steven, good job.
Thanks, Bugs.
I'm real proud of you, man.
Finally.
Hey, does that come in like fat kid size?
All sizes, fun size.
All right, good. Fluffy,
Dude, it's a USPSA.
I mean, I don't like to assume.
Do you know how much money to Go Fast Don't Suck would lose if they didn't?
That is a fair point.
I'm gonna
Touche with the logic.
someone's gonna say something to me at Area 8 about that.
What? Hey man,
That's
listen.
funny.
If you're fat, you're fat. Just live with it.
Mm.
That didn't happen overnight.
I paid a lot of money to look like this.
Yeah. As Jody, my physical therapy lady over at work tells me all the time, she's like, you didn't get that way yesterday. I'm like, yep, no, I'm aware. Thank you. She casually says you're welcome and makes me cry doing push-ups.
Oh, sounds
Shout out to
terrible.
Jody. She's not gonna listen to this, but it's fine. Well, yeah, that's a
So
cool
in-
shirt.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it is definitely cool. Any new sponsors from last year?
We got Sig came through on a Sig came through for a stage this year. I'm trying to think of who we have different. I don't think the Blue Bullet sponsored last year. I don't remember.
Okay.
But the Blue Bullets are doing this year. They're actually one of the first sponsors. We have Ruger. Ruger is sponsoring, I believe, a division. And that's a pretty big deal because they're
Wow.
an actually big company.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a big change from last year. So sponsorship this year has been rough. Like the whole gun industry this year has been kind of in a mess. And that reflects both in our in the sponsors from this year, and I'm really grateful to who did step up to bat for this year for us. And I'm sure our staff will be very happy and our shooters will be very happy. And because I can't thank them enough, because otherwise, like, a lot of the stuff to keep staff happy, to keep shooters happy, a lot of the stuff comes from the sponsors, right? All that prize bag crap, we're not buying it. We're getting it from sponsors, and all the stuff that staff get, we're not buying that either. That's all coming from sponsors. And the match doesn't happen without staff and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been rough this year. So we have some sponsors who are like, well, we can give you certs and everything, and we'll even give you money, but we can't give you merchandise right now because we can't churn out enough of it. So it's we tried our best, and I think we actually did pretty well given the circumstances. But I think we only have 2 or 3 division sponsors for the entire match out of the 7 or 8 we have in USPSA.
Wow.
So stages, I think we're pretty squared away on the stage sponsors. And usually probably come like July, or probably come like later this month, I'll get an email from a few other places saying, hey, we want to sponsor the match. And I'll say, okay, but we can't get you on the jersey, blah, 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 blah. So I'm happy nonetheless for them.
So is Dave's
No.
dog.
Yeah. One of the 3.
Yeah.
So I know Bill said he was going to be there. Go Fast Don't Suck will be there. They'll be doing jerseys and stuff like that again.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Barbecue will be there. I take it Brian Conley. Is he going to be there again?
Brian will not be there. He'll be at the Illinois Section Championship. I asked him, and
okay.
there was
That's a
just
shame.
there was a scheduling conflict. I'm trying to get Red Hill out there again. I don't know if Red Hill's sponsoring just yet. I haven't heard anything back, or at least Paul, my sponsorship coordinator, hasn't said anything about it yet. So hopefully they'll be there, but because Red Hill's only about 30 minutes away from Shadowhawk.
I know they're up in Maryland. I didn't know how far away they
Hagerstown.
were.
So they're
Okay.
right up 81 into
Oh yeah.
Maryland.
Okay.
So they're close.
Anybody else going to have a booth or set up there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Premier might be there, and he does custom molded hearing protection, and he'll do it day of too. Scott, he's a good guy.
Okay. I see. I saw that Nils and Tim Herron are shooting on Friday, but it looks like all
Thursday,
the
I
other.
think.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, Thursday with the staff.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like all the rest of them are shooting Friday through Sunday.
Yeah, so I don't know why Nils was shooting, but I know Tim is shooting Thursday because of the Illinois Section Championship where he's going up for right after. But then I think Glock I think people like Shane, Michelle, and Ashley were originally shooting on Saturday, I think, and they wanted to move to Friday, if I remember.
Yeah, they're on Friday because I have Shane in my squad.
Nice.
Oh, you're very lucky. He's a very attractive man.
I don't expect it to stay
It's
that
true.
way, but right now Shane's in my squad, and so is Josh Shaw. So
Nice.
Old Joshua
got two
Shaw.
very good shooters.
GM Josh.
Mm.
Yeah.
Zero chance
So-
he's going to be shamelessly asking him to come on the show.
Which
And by zero, I mean 100%.
Well,
one,
Shane's-
Josh or Shane?
Doesn't matter.
Nobody wants to talk to Josh. Talk to Shane.
Well, I will
We'll talk to anybody.
definitely be pitching it to him to come on. So there's a few of them. Yeah, it looks like Michelle and Ashley are shooting on Thursday as well.
Yeah, I think I don't know what the deal with their squatting is, but I let them. I
like
moved them a
most
couple
people
times, and I
together.
think from there on, they just do their own thing.
Oh,
But
gotcha.
it's no
Okay.
problem.
Now, what I didn't see is Siler going to be back.
No, he said I spoke to him about that because,
Okay.
funny enough, Stephen and I have played video games with him before, so we play Call of Duty with him every now and then.
Okay.
And we were talking about it, and he said,
When
so
they're
I think-
reading.
What's that?
When you guys are reading your books.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're reading high speed pixels. And he was saying, I think he's in college, and I think he just got an internship with a company to go, and that's involves working through summer. So but he did. He texted me the other day, and he said he's trying to go shoot, but I don't know. He doesn't know if he's going to make it work. So we'll see.
Good for him.
But it'll get, that'll. It'll be interesting to see someone who's not Christian Siler win the area match.
Yeah.
For finally, after 3 years or 2 years.
Right. Well, I thought I saw JJ on there.
JJ
Yeah, he'll be there
is signed
Sunday,
up,
I think.
if I recall.
JJ what?
He's shooting, if I recall.
Yeah, that's so. I mean, you've got some big names that are going to show up and they're going to shoot, and I have a feeling one
Yeah.
of them will be the ones to win it. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see. I like going out there, and like that part of what's nice about being staff is you get to kind of you get like, especially for like staff like Steven or I, where we don't really have a job to do once the match starts. We just kind of like walk around and just like talk smack on people, and then like smack
And
people's
look
butts
good
and
in
stuff
your
like
shirt.
that. Mm.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna be wearing a shirt for half the match though, so
Nice.
Yep. That's a win for everybody. A feast for the eyes.
mm.
Just walk up behind
Beautiful.
JJ, rub his shoulders, slap
Ooh,
Shane
yeah.
Foley on the thigh.
Whisper in JJ's ears.
That's right.
You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Dreamy.
It'd be nice to see one of the cell companies put up a tower somewhere within 100 miles of that range, so you could live stream some of that stuff.
Well, so
Or just
last
talk.
year, so I have T-Mobile, and last year I actually got pretty good reception up there, and I had LTE all week up there. Like just there were no boosters or anything going around it, and I think as of last year, I just going to Shadowhawk every year. It's been pretty good. So I don't know if it's provider specific, but I think I've been okay last year. And Brian Conley he live streams whatever match he's going to,
Right.
and he was live streaming last year too.
I definitely can't, not with Verizon.
Yeah. It doesn't like Verizon. The mountains do not like Verizon.
No, for sure. I need a cell phone. I mean, a satellite phone.
No, we concluded after this weekend that Verizon likes North Carolina, and that's about it.
Yeah, they've been irritating me recently.
Verizon, not North Carolina. We like you, North Carolina. You're fine. You're doing just fine.
Oh,
You say that, then go shoot Tilly's match, and he'll be crying.
So I hear.
No, it was emotional abuse.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I loved every second of it.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
What, did I love every second of it?
Yeah, me too. Every penalty is just like, yeah.
Just
It hurt-
revel.
it hurts so good.
I shot that no shoot so hard.
That-
I'm so happy.
That's the stuff, babe. More of that, please.
I own that no shoot.
Mm,
My gun malfunctioned because I neglected it.
mm.
Delicious.
So, what are you guys shooting division wise at Area 8?
Limited.
I guess I'll be shooting carry optics again.
And what guns are you shooting?
I have an Atlas Nemesis.
Okay.
I have a CZ SPO1 Shadow, not the Shadow 2, the old reliable one.
Okay.
Oh, reliable.
It's bold of you to assume that I want to shoot my own match, though, especially after setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
I would think you would.
Because of the pain.
Oh, that's right.
Right. I mean,
The more I hate myself
we
shooting,
were all
the more
there.
I love
You
it.
said the pain.
Mhm.
Oh, I like it. I love it. I want more of it.
There you go. I would definitely want to shoot it after spending all that time getting everything ready, helping set it up, all of going through that whole process. Yeah, I would definitely shoot it.
Yeah, I think setting up matches like level 1s or level 2s or level 3s sucks. It really sucks. So like Steven and I are going to be out there Steven, Ted, and I are going to be out there for a week, and then our setup crew is going to be out there for like I have a couple of people on setup crew who are going to be like giving us half days and stuff like that. But it's a lot of work. It's terrible. So if like Area 8 happened last year because of like 5 people basically the entire match, and I know if I understand correctly, it was the same the year before I took over. And it's going to be more or less the same this year, and that just seems to be how it is for setting up matches. And so, if you see people who set up the match, thank them because it sucks.
Holy cow. That's a big match to set up, too.
Yeah. So last year we did 13 stages in 2 days.
In 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Activators and all. Or 2.5 days.
When are you guys starting the setup for this match, for this year's match?
So Ted, the area director, will be down there Saturday to just kind of like get stuff on the ground because he's bringing stuff down for setup and stuff like that. So like he's bringing a couple props and steel and stuff like that. I won't be in. I have a wedding to go to on that Saturday, so I'm flying in. I'm flying out of Jackson, Mississippi at 5 a.m. on Sunday. So I should be back home at 9, and then I'll be at the range at hopefully 1. So I told setup crew to start coming in at 1, but I don't know if Ted's going to want help on Saturday, Sunday before I get there. So that's kind of up in the air. So that weekend itself is going to be a giant mess.
So setup would run Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the range master walking through on Wednesday, I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then first shots Thursday morning for the staff.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It'll be exciting.
All I can think is what
Absolutely.
sister cousin is getting married in Mississippi. That's literally the first thing that popped into my head. I'm like, oh, who's getting married?
It's a couple friends from church. They're getting married in Monroe, Louisiana, actually. So I'm flying
Louisiana.
in.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm flying in Thursday to New Orleans. Going to hang out with some friends there, and then we're gonna head up on Friday evening to go up to Monroe, and then the whole flight plan's messed up because I couldn't get a flight soon enough out of New Orleans or Baton Rouge to get home in time to set up the match. And Jackson was the next closest airport. Actually, Jackson's closer, I think, than New Orleans and Baton Rouge. So I'm driving 2 hours into Mississippi to fly out of there, even though my destination was originally Louisiana. It's a total mess.
I got you. Oh yeah, no, I went to school there. I understand.
Well, Leo, do you have anything?
I have one question, although it may be long, and I don't know if you can technically answer. I don't know. So staff for a match, right? So, like, how does that work? You've got area director, match director, assistant director. Like, what's the org chart for running a match?
So the area director sits on top of everything because it's
Okay.
ultimately Ted's match.
Okay.
And then he picks, and then he selects the match director to actually like pick the executive staff, like the staff coordinator, sponsor coordinator, all that stuff. And then it's my job to try and wrangle all the people and stuff like that. And Ted actually does a lot. Ted, I would say Ted does more for the match than I do, and that like he does a lot of the back stuff because the way that Ted and I have set up how Area 8 is run, since both of us came in as like fresh meat, it's it's like separation of duties, right? So like every call I make, Ted gets the ultimate say with the wallet. So that way I'm not spending money that I shouldn't be spending money on, or like it's harder for me to steal money. So it all comes out of the Area 8 corporate. So Ted gets a lot of the Ted has a lot of responsibility on making sure that everything is getting done on the back end. Like, contracts are getting signed, bills are getting paid, stuff like that. Like down payments are getting made, stuff like that. So he does a lot. He does a lot. I'm just the idiot who freaking sits down with Stephen over here and then thinks, what would people hate? Let's do it.
See, that sounds like
How
a
do
dope
we get
job.
the most hate on our survey?
Right.
Yeah. So, well, and like it's my responsibility to pick like the executive staff. So I have like Dave Ankeny was my staff coordinator, and he did a bang up job. He did a bang up job last year. He did a fantastic job this year, and I couldn't be thankful enough for everything he's done for the staff to help me out with the staff. So, and then we have the sponsor coordinator, who is Paul Williams, who's also our section coordinator, and he's done a really, really good job of wrangling sponsors, because he used to have a gun shop, and he spends a lot of time talking to industry people and spends a lot of time shooting with people like Max Michel and stuff like that, and he shoots a lot of majors with those people, so he has a lot of the networking connections. So it was really beneficial to have him as a sponsor coordinator. But like it was just his job to just try and wrangle people, and I set up the like initial structure of who's going to be sponsoring, or like the tier sponsorship of stage costs you how much money and what do you get in turn from us, or like versus division versus like just sponsoring stuff like match jerseys or lunch or even paying for water for the match, and then we usually, I think a few years ago they had vendor coordinators and stuff like that, but I think the complete lack of vendors, there's not really a need for a coordinator. So we just kind of say, okay, vendor areas here, pick up where you want to set up your tent and just deal with it. And then from there, Dave does a lot too. So Dave handled all the staff from there. So I really, like Stephen and I really just did the stages. And Stephen just does whatever I ask him to do, because he's just like, okay, what do you want me to do? I'm like, oh, well, I guess we're going to design stages now, and then because the RMs are ragging on us to get it done. So, yeah, and then it's like a discussion between the match director and the area director to pick the range masters and like how many you want to have and stuff like that. But just given like how Shadowhawk's structured, with like the lower bays that take like 8 minutes to get down, we decided that we're going to have two RMs last year and this year. So yeah, that's the big
one above.
Yeah, well, kind of. So, like how Shadowhawk has the bays all the way down on one end. Once you go to the top, it goes down to the bottom, and then you have the ones all the way in the bottom, right? So,
correct.
We have one that handles like the bottom half of the top part, and then the bottom, and then the other handles the up there, and that's where like a lot of since it's so densely packed, there's enough going on for the other RM.
For sure.
Usually,
Yeah.
ideally, the RM would not have to do much, but that's not the reality of it.
Right.
Yeah, I guess the luckier you are, the less he does. And you did, and to go along with what Leo was asking earlier, you said something about your thought process on running major matches has changed. What did you mean by that?
In terms of how a lot of that goes down to the stage format, like the 3-2-1 format that we were talking about, along with like just like stage design philosophy in general. So we kind of like, people always say be the change you want to see. So Stephen and I are being the change we want to see, and some people don't like it, but we like it. But because like we want to push the sport towards. And like it's not a fault of any shooter, right? Because you come into the sport and you're conditioned. You shoot a lot of matches that are a lot of where people know each other, and people like match directors know each other, and a lot of them share like similar stages and whatnot. So it's not a fault of the shooter. It's not a fault of like any particular person. It's just that like USPSA, I came in. I've only been shooting for this sport for about 4 years, but from what I've seen the last 4 years, it's it's a lot of the same in terms of stage design, and I would like to see something, more technical, like more of the IPSC style stages come in, and like you'll hear people say like, oh, USPSA is an IPSC. Well, it is. USPSA is the US division of IPSC.
Right.
That's why we're required to host an IPSC nationals every year. And B, that's a dumb argument. Like, it's a dumb argument, because just because it's not the same sport doesn't mean that we shouldn't be allowed to have similar philosophies in terms of stage design and how we're running matches. And like I get in like IPSC, IPSC is like a super 1%er sport in most of the world, and because the U.S. is very blessed with the government acknowledging the fact that we have a natural right to own guns and use them, right? So
For now.
For now, yeah.
for now,
Yeah. Depending on
especially
administration.
living here in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just by sheer population, it's a lot. There's a lot more input versus what happens in IPSC, and like the way IPSC is run. I was talking to Chris Tilley about this actually at his match. And like the way IPSC is run is all the stages are approved and like walked on and tinkered by the exact same people at every level 3 or 4 match up there. So like their regionals and like the world shoot and stuff like that. But they all have like a very similar idea of how matches are, how stages should be set up for match flow or for like difficulty and stuff like that. And so I always thought like that format was cool, and I wanted to bring it to a level 3. So when I was offered the chance to initially run Area 8, I jumped on it because I said, hey, I can bring this cool concept that a lot of people that a lot of matches don't have, and I'll bring it to an area match. So it'll get a lot of publicity, it'll get a lot of clout. And I think that more or less went over pretty well, but there's still like a lot of people just like to shoot a lot, which I get. Like, I don't blame them, but I think in terms of the actual execution of the sport and the actual, the whole DVC thing. So like, our speed, power, and accuracy, like the core of our sport. I think that should be challenged to a greater extent, besides just speed and power.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've noticed that, just watching IPSC videos on that people post on Instagram and stuff, those are very technical. They can still be very fast. I mean, you look at Eric Graffel, the dude is ridiculously quick.
That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Well, it's unfair though. Graffel's like he's
not.
like built in a factory to shoot IPSC, right?
Right. But I mean, if you look at other people just posting the different videos that they shoot in Europe, they're way more, I want to say, technical. There's not a whole lot of open targets. There's a lot of swingers and all kinds of moving stuff.
Hard cover. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
It's not just that. It's the way they use the swingers and the activators and stuff. The timing arrays are just really, really.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to what you'll see with us, where it's like, hey, we've got this. You might have to engage a target or 2 and 1 moving, whereas they've got to do timing on 3, maybe 4, and they at ridiculous distances and not easy gimme shots.
Yeah.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm impressed with. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying we don't use a lot of activators or anything in our matches simply because we can't get it to work as well or as consistently as you see them use. And I think that has a lot to do with the amount of money that they have to put into the equipment that we don't necessarily have. You know what I'm saying? We're not against using movers and swingers and activators and some of that wild stuff that you will see. It's just getting it to work, at least 95% of the time and still making it a challenging timing array that you can enjoy shooting is just not easy to do.
Yeah, they got EU money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
European Union.
I mean, like even just shot difficulty too, right? Like a swinger up close can be fun, but like if you really want the challenge to come in, you do like what Stephen said. You have arrays where the timing is so imperative that you can, you'll lose the stage on just throwing a makeup shot on a single swinger at maybe 15 to 20 yards. And like if you watch like the IPSC stages from like Ben Steger's videos or like any of like the Extreme Euro videos, they're putting swingers out there at like 20 yards or so, and they're also adding steel into it, or they're adding another activator into it, and it adds a whole that adds a whole layer of complexity to just a single position. And it's amazing watching like what they can do. But the fact of the matter is, we don't run a professional organization at Area 8 where we can, where everything can be tested down to a T and everything can be set up by professional staff and whatnot. Right. We're a volunteer sport, and like in IPSC, it's like a profession for a lot of the people up there. And a lot of the ranges are like the host ranges there exist for action shooting. And we don't have that luxury here, right? So it's hard because we don't have like a level of perfection that they have. But it'd be cool if we could do it.
Science.
Yeah. Because
it goes back into what, it goes back into what you said. If you did have a traveling professional crew, maybe to do nationals and area championships, then you could have all of that equipment that works 100% with that crew setting all that stuff up. That's an interesting concept.
Well,
maybe one day.
Yeah, and I mean, it also goes back to one of the other things you said, where it's over there and really just around the world, other than here. It's those elite, top tier people with money, and they can put that into the sport. Whereas here, and it's not a ding on us by any means, other than it's like Joe Bob and everybody and their brother can shoot this sport, and it's not necessarily that they're investing in it, the overall sport. They're just investing in themselves as far as equipment. As opposed to the club or the host facility.
Yeah.
Just imagine how palatable a $500 match fee for an area match would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that could easily. I mean, that'll get
that
you
hurts
close.
my tenders.
That'll get you close to having a professional staff there that's paid to come do a job. Close.
We're getting there. Like the Carolinas have done a really good job of that. Like they have semi-professional staff. Like it's still volunteer, but they get paid in like per diem and stuff like that. Like they actually get paid and they pace for you and all that stuff instead of.
Yeah,
so,
I heard about that and I got really excited.
It's awesome. It's really nice to go down there where you shoot the stage, you sit down, and they do everything for you. It's really, really nice, but. Like the proportional cost of that and the proportional wear and tear on the staff is a lot more than just having people ROing and resetting steel and resetting activators, stuff like that. So it's striking a balance, because as much as I would like to have Area 8 be, the shooters don't have to paste and the staff paste. To me, the staff, like the quality of the staff and staff wanting to come back is really, really imperative to an area match being successful. If you have bad staff, you're not going to no matter how good the stages are. If you have bad staff, or if you have not enough staff, the match is not going to go well.
Yeah, and nobody's going to want to shoot that match again.
Yeah, and it was like the Carolinas get away by paying their staff, and I wish I could do that, but everyone complains about money. You have a local match that costs more than $25. People complain. You have an area match that costs more. I mean, Area 8's actually one of the cheaper area matches, I think, because we were $195 this year, and then you have and a lot of like the bigger areas. So I think Area 3 was like $270 or something like that. It's close to nationals money, and then like you have like Florida Open, which is like $270. And so it's a balance, right? So $270 is like you're almost you're increasing your match fee by 50% but in return you hopefully harvest like a better a better staff,
right, and a better experience.
That's the hope,
right?
But nobody's going to get a better shirt.
Our shirts are going to be the best ever.
I'm going to keep talking about that until I see Steven crack a big smile, because that is a dope shirt.
I'm going to cut Steven's sleeves off in his sleep, too.
Nice.
There you go. I like it.
You will cut the front of it.
Yeah, I'm going to cut the bottom off, too, so it'll be like a sexy crop top.
Nice.
It'll be like the Magnum PI version of the Trailer Park Trigger Slappers jersey.
I mean, Joe Dirte is his favorite film.
There you go. All right, so one last question. Any aspirations to match direct like nationals in your future?
No. No,
Emphatically.
I don't know.
absolutely not.
in just demeanor when that question got asked.
No.
No.
I mean, they like pain, but I don't think they hate themselves like that.
That much, right?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine putting together 22 stages plus. No way. I mean, Shannon Smith is an unbelievable person for doing what he does with building all those.
Yeah.
big matches.
That was
can't
impressive.
imagine. And he
Yeah,
does a
and
great
then-
job.
And then your staff also, as staff, you also shoot in 2 days. You shoot 22 stages in 2 days. That sounds
Ew.
terrible.
God, imagine shooting 11 stages in a day.
Imagine shooting
In
more than
Florida.
7.
Ugh.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, and every time you pick up your mag, you gotta friggin' take it apart and clean it, and oh yeah,
Yep.
Mm.
And it's probably going to rain because it's still hurricane season down there usually.
yeah.
Well, and to think he would do what, nationals, back-to-back nationals in October. Then he would do Florida State in December
Yep.
and Florida Open in February. Holy cow!
Guy's an animal.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like he's nuts. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, that's all we have. Anything else you guys would like to add or plug?
No, I think we might be able. If anyone wants to register still, we might be able to squeeze in a few slots. So go ahead and sign up, and we'll try and get you in as best we can. But other than that, if you see your staff, when you see your staff at Area 8, make sure you thank them because it's a thankless job, like Stephen said, and they're giving up a lot of their own time. And we're all blessed to have good staff at the staff that we do have at Area 8, and it's very fortunate. And thank sponsors too if you see them because they give. The reality is sponsors don't make any money off the matches unless they're actually selling merchandise there.
Right.
And it's mostly out of the goodness of their heart. So make sure if you see people who are responsible for that, make sure you thank them too because it's a big deal. And then thank me and Stephen for our service because we're amazing.
You're welcome for our service.
Mhm. Even though we only let you shoot like 2 whole PCC mags worth of rounds for the entire area match.
Mhm.
And make you shoot in the rain.
Yes.
We like
Well, Jim-
and appreciate the pain, so thank you.
Yeah, we do. Because we enjoy shooting it. So
Yeah, from
don't
Casual Shooter
speak-
Podcast to you, muchas gracias.
Don't speak too soon. Come to my local match. You'll have it. That's a taste of how Area 8 is going to be more or less.
I like
okay.
to anticipate the pain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay, you just
I'll
want to
ease
show
into
up.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just, it's nice, subtle push
Slap in the
off
face,
the cliff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. We appreciate your time and information, and look forward to seeing you guys there.
Well, thanks for having us, man. We really
Well, thank you,
appreciate it.
guys.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, take care, guys.
Bye.
Until next time.
Don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.